Bienvenidas, bienvenidos a todos que nos acompañan hoy. Welcome to all of you who are here for today's information session on TU Dortmund. We will be giving this presentation in English, but we invite you to share any questions that you have with us in Spanish. So now it's my pleasure to invite our colleague Leah Schubert from TU Dortmund to share her presentation with us, and then at the end, respond to any questions that you have about study abroad at TU Dortmund.
All right, Laurie, thank you very much. As I said, I'm very happy to be here. In Germany, it's already 4 p.m., so it's the end of my work day. So I had a lot of time today to think about what I'm going to share with you, what might be interesting to you. And I thought it would be nice to just start with a very brief video. And this video basically shows you just a very small glimpse of TU Dortmund University. But I think it's very important to actually show you videos and photos of where you might be studying abroad, because studying abroad is, well, for a short period of time, you will live in a different country, in a different city. And for us, it's very important to make you feel at home. So we really want you to be in Dortmund and feel at home. And so what's the best thing to give you this feeling is by showing you photos, by showing you videos. And that's why I want to start with that. Hopefully the video is running. I'll share with you now, and then I'll be back with my presentation. All right.
Welcome on TU Dortmund University's campus. You can see the International Meeting Center. Here, we welcome our exchange students after their arrival in Dortmund, but already before your arrival, and of course during your stay, the International Office will continuously support you, and you are always welcome to contact us with your questions. Our office is located next to the International Meeting Center, and you are welcome to look over my shoulder a bit. Just follow me. As the International Office, we are responsible for supporting international mobility. No matter if you are interested in studying with us for 1 or 2 semesters as an exchange student, or if you are interested in our 8-week international summer program or in an internship, we are your first contact. TU Dortmund University is named after its location, the city of Dortmund. Dortmund is located in Germany's most populated state, North Rhine-Westphalia, on the border to the Netherlands and Belgium. TU Dortmund University offers a wide range of courses in the natural and engineering sciences, as well as in the social and cultural sciences. Living in Dortmund is fun because our city with almost 600,000 inhabitants is quite large, but at the same time, it has many green spaces. And we have an industrial history, but today the city has turned into a high-tech city. Dortmund has a temperate climate zone, so it's not too hot in the summer and not too cold in the winter. On campus, of course, we have many activities you can take part in. It's either university sports or university music. We have a number of clubs and groups, and we are very sure you will not be bored here. It is very important to us to ensure that your stay at TU Dortmund University will be a great experience. Therefore, we offer a lot of support services. Special highlights are our 4-week German intensive course, which is free of charge for exchange students, and our housing service that allows you to easily book your accommodation in Dortmund. If you're interested in staying in
at TU Dortmund University, please contact the international office at your home university first to learn if there's a cooperation and to receive all important information about the next steps. The entire staff at the international office has been studying abroad, so we all know what your worries are and we understand your questions. So please feel free to ask all the questions you want to ask. Discover Europe and start in Dortmund. We look forward to welcoming you at TU Dortmund University. All right, so that was the 4-minute video. I think this video basically, well, it sums up what TU Dortmund is all about. And what I want to do now is I would like to give you a very brief presentation. Some topics were already covered in the video, but I thought it would be maybe easier for some of you to actually read the facts. Because sometimes, when we talk, it's quite fast, and so it's maybe easier to read. And as I pointed out before, what I love to do is to show you more photos of our campus to, get an idea and just explain a little bit, what you can see on those photos and, what you can actually expect, if you decide to study at our university. So here, actually, that's the Math Tower. It's the highest building on our campus. And what's special about this building is that we have this TU logo, so this green TU logo that's turning. So our university campus is a little like it's built on a hill. So whenever you are in Dortmund, in the Dortmund area, you can see this TU logo turning in the distance, which is kind of nice because, you can always see our university even from far away. And I think as you also seen in the video, our campus is quite green. I mean, our region is, well, we have a history in coal mining and in steel industry. So many people actually think that our region is rather gray and dark and a lot of concrete and like not welcoming, but that's actually not the truth. But actually our campus is green, our city is green, and our area is very green. So here is a little map of Europe. As you learned from the video, that's where Dortmund is located. And Dortmund is part of the larger Ruhr area, which is Germany's most densely populated area. And we have more than 6 million people that actually live in this area. And what's very special about this area is that actually people from over 150 nations live here. And that's also because of our history in coal mining and steel production, because many people from different countries came to the Ruhr area to work. And of course, they lived here for many years and then they decided to stay because Dortmund and the Ruhr area became their home. And so that's why the whole area is so multicultural. And I think it's very beneficial because, it's just so nice to live here and to have so many people from all over the world that live with you. When thinking of studying abroad, I was thinking, how can I introduce Dortmund and tell, students that are maybe interested in coming, what is so special about Dortmund? I mean, you've heard in the video that we have about 600,000 inhabitants, which is quite large. I mean, of course, there are bigger cities than that, but in Germany, it's a rather big city, I would say. But even though it is this big, it's really safe. So you do not, have to worry when you, let's say, walk home from your late class, or if you just want to, I don't know, go to a club at the on the weekend. So it's a very safe space, and it's not just in Dortmund, but also the neighboring cities are pretty, safe. So there's really no need to be afraid, when walking home alone or when spending time outside. As I said, it's very multicultural, and what is also very beneficial is that it's relatively cheap to live in Dortmund and the area, especially when you compare it to Berlin, to Hamburg, to Munich. I mean, of course, in today's time, you can basically study wherever you want. It's easy, but then, it's maybe not that easy for everyone to afford, living in Berlin. And I think it's very good to show that there are places that are affordable for everybody. So it's not just, for maybe more privileged students that, that they can study abroad, but basically for everybody. And another plus, because one of you also mentioned that, traveling is very interesting for you. Dortmund has a great location in Europe. We're basically in the center of Europe. And so it's very easy, for example, to travel to Amsterdam. You can just take a train from Dortmund main station and be in Amsterdam in maybe 3 hours. It's not just easy, but also very cheap to get a train ticket. You could also go to London for the weekend. Taking the train is a little difficult, but you can just fly. And Dortmund has a small regional airport, and you can just take a plane there, go to London, I think in about 2 hours. Or of course, you can go to Paris, which is also reachable via train, and it takes you, I think, 4 to 5 hours. So these are just 3 examples of, very big cities that you can visit on the weekends, or if you have a longer period of time, maybe before or after your exchange. So as I said in the very beginning, for me, it's very important to not only show you that we are, of course, the best university you can study at, but we want to represent not just the university, but also the city. So we are Dortmund. We want to represent our city in the best possible way. And here you can see a photo of Dortmund at night. You can see it's the downtown area. And you can also, of course, also see a little park on the right. And you can see like how large the city is. We have a great public transport. So even though the city might span, a little bit, it's still very easy to get around with public transportation. So with subways, with buses, with trains, it's quite easy. And I wanted to select a couple of photos of Dortmund. And then when I tried to do this, actually, it was quite hard because, you want to show basically the best, but then it's kind of hard because you don't want to miss out on, one or the other part. So I selected basically randomly 5 photos because I think they represent the city pretty well. So on the left, you can see this U. It's also like it's a logo, it's a sign on top of a tower. And this building was actually a brewery for quite some time, and now they turned it into a museum. So for me, the photo actually represents, also this change from, so that from one industry to the next. So we actually have many, many museums you can visit in Dortmund, and there's a lot to see. On the right, for example, you can see an old industrial building, and it's pretty similar to the old brewery because many of these older buildings are now turned into museums, and you can just like walk around, learn more about the history, and it's really nice. It's always very clean. Oftentimes there are guided tours you can take, and it's just like nice to learn more about Dortmund, and about the history. Then in the middle, of course, it's a photo of our stadium. Many of you know that Dortmund has a very big soccer club. It's called the BVB. It's a very good soccer team. We are usually one of the best teams in Germany and in Europe. And if you really come to Dortmund at some time, you have to go to one of the matches because it's like you can not explain how great it is. There's this yellow, it's called the yellow wall. It's one part of the stadium. That's where like all the hardcore fans usually are seated. Well, they're standing, there are no seats for these people. And it really gives you goosebumps, when they start to sing and, cheer for the soccer team. So it's a very great experience. And that's also part of our Dortmund identity. Then on the left, you can see fireworks. Well, of course, fireworks are not specific to Dortmund. You can see fireworks pretty much everywhere. Well, I know that. But this actually represents my idea of events. There are so many events in the city, and of course, the neighboring cities that you can attend, not only during the summer, usually outdoors then, but also during the winter. It's just so easy to find activities basically every day, every night, on the weekends, on vacation, there's always something that you can actually do in Dortmund. And then the last photo is, it represents the green soul of our city. There are many parks. So if you are if you like to go running, you can do that. If you like to go biking, you can rent a bike. Or if you just want to have a barbecue with your friends, your exchange students, whatever, it's pretty easy to just, sit down, chat, and just relax during the very nice summers here. But also, you can just grab some snow in the winter, and it's just a nice time it's just very nice to spend your time there. And as I said before, there's just so much more, which I cannot highlight during this presentation, but I'm pretty sure that if you decide to stay or study in Dortmund, you will get to know all these other facets in person. But today, we want to talk about this. Not so much about Dortmund, but about this. Here you can see our campus, one of two campuses that we have. It's called the North Campus. On the left side, you can actually see the math tower with the Turning to You logo. I mentioned that before. And for example, our big cafeteria, which is the building with the yellow windows. And if you look really close, there on the right, that's me waving hi to all our future students, because that's actually our building. So that's where the international office is located. So we're right on campus and very close to our students. And so whenever you need any help, it's very easy to come to our office and ask for help. Here I have just a few information on TU Dortmund University. Some information was already covered in the video, so I'm not going to repeat it. But what I wanted to show you is that we have 17 departments. That's quite a lot. I think we have more than 80 degree programs. And what is interesting, I think, is that even though we are a technical university, we offer basically everything except for law and medicine. Yeah, but we have natural sciences, engineering, cultural studies. Well, almost everything we can think of. So, for example, we have journalism. I think I read in the chat that one of you is studying journalism. We also have journalism. We have arts and sports and social sciences. So there's a large variety, and usually there are courses for everybody if you're interested. Then I want to highlight two things. One is the technology park. So right next to the university campus, there is a very large technology park, actually the largest in Germany. And of course, there is always a very good, connection between the companies that are located there and TU Dortmund University. So sometimes even, people that work there come to the university to give lectures. Some of our students work there. They do internships there. So it's a very smart location for a technology park because of, all the good students that might find jobs there after their studies. And then the second thing is the University Alliance WUR, which is an alliance of 3 different universities, so Dortmund, Bochum, and Duisburg-Essen. And these universities are located basically right next to each other in 3 different cities. And so, for example, if you are looking for one specific class and there's just no possibility to take this class at our university, there's always the possibility to cross-enroll at classes at these other 2 universities. So because sometimes I know you need to have credits for this specific class, then I'm pretty sure that we will find this class either at TU Dortmund University or in Bochum or in Duisburg-Essen. So these lovely ladies and this one gentleman, we are the international office. You met Miriam Gothe and Silke Viol in our video already, and I mean, you met me now. But of course, it's a big team, and we have many students, assistants, and our number one goal is just we want you to feel at home. So we really try to focus on our services. We know that we're not Berlin, we're not Munich, but we are Dortmund, and I think we can be proud to say that we are Dortmund. We are the international office, and we want to help you with your stay And, we want you to go back and be sad that you have to leave. I mean, of course, it's always great when you go back, you're happy to see your family and your friends, but we also want you to be sad, because you have to leave Dortmund. And so we want to do everything we can to make your stay a really great experience. A couple of our services are, for example, that we take care of all the logistics. So, if you want to have a dorm room, we can take care of that. We help you with health insurance, with appointments you might have in the city, with all kinds of stuff. And of course, whenever you get to Dortmund, we will help you and pick you up at Dortmund train station or on campus, whatever you prefer. And usually you get a Dortmund double. It's a Dortmund student, and each of our international or exchange students is paired with one of these Dortmund doubles. And the student is basically there to help you, because we know that sometimes it's hard, when you come from a different country, a different city, maybe it's hard to navigate this new city. And then it's so helpful to have a student, to help you the first few days. So maybe you need to go grocery shopping, or you need to go to IKEA to get a new towel or whatever. And it's just so much easier to ask one of your peers than maybe go, to the international office and ask us. It's just very nice to have a student that helps you with everything you might need. And a second thing I would like to highlight here is the academic advisor. So for each exchange student, we have an academic advisor, and usually you meet in person after your arrival, and then you discuss all the classes that we have and that you want to take. It's nice to have this academic advisor because you can always go back to that person and maybe, discuss if you want to drop some classes and take some new classes. And so there's always one specific person you can just go to, write emails to, or call, and it's just so much easier. And I think it's a great service, especially if you've never spent any time abroad or in a country where maybe English or Spanish, in your case, is not the first language. Because yes, many people in Germany speak English, but sometimes it is hard. It would be the same if I would go to Puerto Rico and people would like to talk to me in Spanish. It would be really hard, even though I try to be quite fluent in English. Miriam already pointed out that we have a German intensive course, which is really nice. It's a 4-week program before the actual semester starts. And it's there are no tuition fees for exchange students, so it's free of charge for you. And another highlight is our NRW ticket. It's a public transportation ticket, so you can just use this ticket for your, if you want to go, if you want to move around in Dortmund, or also if you want to move to other cities in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, which is basically a state in Germany. But it's, I think, one of the biggest states, actually. So we have a new website, which is in English and in German. And I want to highlight this because all relevant information, and I really mean all information, can be found online and much more. Here's also the link to this website. I mean, if there are questions later, I'm also happy to go through the website with you. That's, of course, no problem. But I am sure that you will find answers to all of your questions also on our website. You're, of course, very welcome, to contact us. But I think it's a good website to get a first, impression of, what we offer, our programs, and what studying at Dortmund University would look like. I think Laurie mentioned it before that we have different programs that are basically possible for you. The classic program would be a semester abroad, 1 or 2 semesters abroad. But of course, we also have different programs, and I would like to highlight actually 2. First of all, it's the International Summer Program. It's a 2-month program, and from probably the name, you can tell it's during the summer. So in June and July usually. And what is special about the summer program is actually that's the regular second half of our semester. So it's not like many other summer programs that, it's only you on campus and all of the rest is basically empty, but it's just a regular second half. So you will take classes with other Dortmund students, and it's just a nicer atmosphere because you're just part of the student body. It's just, everyone's still on campus, and I think that's a very good benefit from this international summer program. For the program, we have 3 different tracks. So it's engineering, German and European studies, and entrepreneurship. And we have a set of courses that you can basically select from. I highlighted a few of the different degree programs you can select courses from. So for example, from automation and robotics, or classes from German culture in European and global context. So they're it's a large variety of different courses you can just select individual courses from. If you're interested, let's say, in engineering and in German and European studies, it's also possible. So you can select from different tracks if that's interesting, if that interests you. For all tracks, there's the option for an independent study or a research project if you want. There's a mandatory German language class and many excursions, because we know that, when you're in Dortmund for only 2 months, it's kind of hard to actually experience the city, experience the area. And so that's why we want to show you the area by having many excursions and, to show you around, give you a little more guidance than, maybe you could do when you're here for a whole semester. And the second thing I would want to highlight is the international teaching internship. It's a full-time English language internship and for all subjects. That's a great way if you're interested in an internship and not in a typical study abroad. Basically, the only requirement is that you're very good in English. German is optional, would be nice, but it's, as I said, it's optional. And it's open to education majors and other majors. So ideally, it's 2 to 3 months, just because we think it's easier for you and also the students, some of them are quite young, to build up a relationship. If you're only here for 4 weeks, I guess it's kind of hard to actually, get a good experience when teaching in a classroom. But everything between 4 weeks and 6 months is possible. It really depends on your time schedule, and I'm pretty sure that we can, make it happen. So if you have an idea, if you, want to go, if you want to do a teaching internship, my colleague is there to help you, and I'm sure we can make it work. I think that's about it. I have one more thing. It's a rather general thing about living in Dortmund. You've seen a few shots, of Dortmund in the video already. But what I wanted to highlight are actually 2 things. So on the one hand, the dorms. So we have student dorms that are on and off campus. Usually they're single rooms. Sometimes they have shared bathrooms or shared kitchens. It really depends on what kind of dorm house it is. And they're usually, a maximum of 450 euros per month. So that would be maybe $500 approximately. That's like the maximum rent. And then we have, of course, cafeterias on campus where you can get your food. Usually they're open for breakfast and lunch. And there, for example, a lunch is between €1.50 to €4. So that's about, from $2 to maybe $5. And we have vegan and vegetarian options. So I think it's still quite affordable. And I mean, of course, if you decide, no, I don't want to eat at the cafeteria, I would like to cook, groceries are, I guess, no, I think they are quite cheap in Germany. So you can also cook for yourself if that's, if that's what you want, if that's easier for you. But there are options on campus. And of course, off campus, since we are so multicultural, you will find so many delicious foods all over Dortmund. And I think it's always a good thing to try different things while studying at Dortmund University. So I think I'm at the end of my presentation, and there's just one more thing I really want to say. We look forward to welcoming you in Dortmund, and I hope the photos and the video, they gave you a brief idea of what studying abroad here in Dortmund would look like. And yeah, I'm open for questions if you have specific questions, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Leah. That was a wonderful presentation, and I feel excited. I have been to Dortmund personally a few years ago, and I took the train to get there, and it was a wonderful and very easy experience to navigate the train and to get around town. And it was, like Leah says, a very green space, and I felt very welcome there. So if you would like to talk to someone here at Sagrado during one of your appointments with our team, I'd be happy to tell you more about what it was like for me to go to Dortmund as well as someone from Sagrado. So I want to invite everyone to think of the questions that you have for Leah, and you can ask them on the microphone, or you can put them in chat, and you can ask them in English or in Spanish. We are happy to translate any questions you have in Spanish. But first, before anyone has to leave quickly, I want to share some information about the next 3 steps for anyone who is interested in applying to study abroad. So I'm going to share my screen briefly and just take about 3 minutes to go over a quick presentation of what you can do next after this presentation. And hopefully, here we go. Can you see my screen? Great. All right. So if you are thinking, I want to study abroad, I want to make sure this happens while I'm at Sagrado, the first thing you will do is go to our new website via TRM. And if you don't mind, Leah, I'm going to switch into Spanish just to make sure that everyone understands how this works. So el primer paso es que van a visitar la plataforma de Vía TRM, que es donde tenemos todos los programas de estudios en extranjero guardado. Y pueden ver en esta plataforma el programa de intercambio de semestre de TU Dortmund y también el programa de verano que ella mencionó, que son 2 meses en verano en TU Dortmund. Aquí esto es un screenshot. Hemos grabado la pantalla, así que no van a verlo aquí mismo en la plantilla, pero sí, cuando entran a la plataforma usando el enlace que se encuentra aquí en la palabra aquí, enlazada, van a poder encontrar los 2 programas de TU Dortmund que ella mencionó, de semestre o de verano. Y como van a ver ahí, también incluye la información sobre el curso gratuito de 4 semanas de alemán intensivo antes de comenzar un semestre de estudios ahí. Así que como primer paso, les animamos a recibir esta presentación luego de la sesión, a dar clic en la palabra enlazada aquí, de aquí, y registrarse para comenzar a buscar la información detallada sobre Dortmund. Segundo, antes de comenzar a recibir asesoría individual sobre estudios en extranjero, hay que asistir a la sesión semanal sobre estudios en extranjero, porque aquí vamos a presentar todas las opciones de estudios en el extranjero, los requisitos para participar, ya que es un programa muy particular, y también información sobre becas disponibles para estudiar en el extranjero, que les adelanto que hay muchas y muchas becas disponibles para ayudarles, y nuestra oficina asesora a ustedes en el proceso de solicitar esas becas. Como pueden ver, esta sesión ocurre todos los miércoles a las 11 a.m., dura máximo 1 hora. Y aquí al recibir la presentación, la palabra Zoom y el botón de la cámara aquí es un enlace y pueden dar clic ahí para acceder a la sesión de los miércoles. Así que esperamos que si no han asistido todavía, mañana puedan asistir a esa sesión. Si tienen clase a las 11 los miércoles, podemos compartirles una grabación de la sesión y después de verla van a poder sacar una cita con una asesora. Y como tercer paso aquí, quiero mencionar que como indiqué, hay muchas becas disponibles y también ayudamos a ustedes a pensar en el presupuesto necesario. Un punto importante de la presentación de hoy es que TU Dortmund es una opción más accesible económicamente. El costo de vivir en Dortmund es menor a muchos de los otros sitios a donde pueden ir nuestros estudiantes de intercambio. Así que proveemos cada mes una sesión sobre cómo financiar tu experiencia internacional y ahí vamos a hablar de ejemplos como Dortmund, de ciudades menos costosas que requieren menos ahorro y menos fondos, y también cómo ahorrar, cómo recaudar dinero y cuáles son las becas particulares que pueden aplicar al programa que te interesa. De nuevo, esto es cada mes, el segundo martes de cada mes a las 11 a.m. y aquí hay un enlace para conectarse por Zoom a esa sesión. Así que primero van a registrarse en vía TRM, segundo van a venir mañana o en cualquier miércoles a la sesión informativa y tercero van a aprovechar la información que ofrecemos en la sesión sobre cómo financiar tu experiencia internacional. Y en todo momento estamos disponibles para responder a dudas y preguntas en el correo electrónico internacional@sagrado.edu y también en nuestra página web tenemos mucha información que pueden ver en cualquier momento, sagrado.edu/internacional. Nos van a encontrar allí. Así que con eso voy a cambiar de nuevo al inglés. I'm going to switch back to English. And now I hope that you have all thought of a few questions. So I invite you in the chat or via microphone to share your questions in English or Spanish. Marieli.
Yes, I just want to say that it's very interesting how we interact with other countries, you know, is very nice. The student has to I don't know how to say that in English. The student must have I don't know. I forgot sometimes, but because it's very difficult for us, it's thinking in Spanish and then translate and then speak is not easy. But the student has to enjoy this and have the benefits that most of us didn't have. And it's amazing. I would like to go someday to Germany because it's very interesting. So thank you very much. I appreciate all the information that you gave us today. Thank you, Lia.
Thank you, Marieli. And that's true. We hear a lot of the faculty and staff at Sagrado say, I wish I had this chance when I was a student, and I hope that our students take advantage of it. Coralis, Fabiola, Marcia, ¿tienen alguna pregunta sobre lo que han visto? Do you have any questions about what you've seen?
Sí, quería preguntar, ¿cómo yo puedo solicitar para poder, ¿verdad?, participar o cómo sería el proceso?
Good question. So Coralius was wondering, how do I apply? What's the process for me to apply for this program? So Coralis, like I mentioned in the little presentation that I gave, there are two main first steps in the process. And maybe I'll mention these in Spanish again really quickly. Primero, hay que hacer la cuenta en vía TRM porque ahí es donde uno va a solicitar. Y ahí uno puede filtrar por opciones de hospedaje, programas académicos, etc. Así que crear esa cuenta importa mucho, hay que hacerlo. Y segundo, hay que ir a la sesión informativa de los miércoles. Te pregunto, ¿tú has asistido a una sesión de los miércoles?
No.
Ok, perfecto. Pues al ir a esa sesión informativa, vas a poder ver si cualificas, porque el programa de intercambio, como mencioné, es un programa bien definido, tiene convenios legales, así que podemos ofrecer el programa de intercambio a ciertos estudiantes, por ejemplo, no en tu último semestre, no en tu primer semestre, pero ahí vas a enterarte de todos los requisitos y otra información bien beneficiosa, y de ahí vas a ir sacando una cita con una asesora que te ayuda a verificar con tus metas personales, académicas, profesionales, cuál programa que ofrecemos sería el mejor fit. Y puedes decir que me interesa TU Dortmund, quiero ver si es un buen fit para mí, y la asesora te va a ayudar a determinar si sí, te va a ayudar a tomar las clases que necesitas y lograr las metas que tienes para tu experiencia. Primero, crear la cuenta en vía. Segundo, asistir a la sesión informativa. Tercero, vas a llegar a una cita con una asesora para averiguar si TU Dortmund u otro programa es el mejor fit para ti.
Okay, excelente. Gracias.
Okay. De nada. Marieli, did you want to share something else?
Yes, I don't know if you mentioned it just to know, our students have to pay any student visa? I don't know if you mentioned, I'm sorry.
That's a great question. Students do have to pay for a passport. And Leah, could you just briefly mention what it's like to get a visa for Germany? For US students?
Well, I mean, so the thing is, yes, if you want to study in Germany, so not just at TU Dortmund University, usually when you're not a European citizen, then you have to apply for a visa. And that's what you usually do at your local embassy. So like way before you want to go to, let's say, Germany or even France or, you know, any other European country, you have to apply. I'm not sure how much it is for you. I remember when I applied for a US visa, I think it was less than 200 euros. Laurie, I don't know if you know how much it is exactly, but that's what you have to have, you know, when you want to go to Germany.
Exactly. And in the case of US citizens, typically you get what's called a residence permit, but it is a process that TU Dortmund will help. Once you are admitted to their exchange program, they'll help you understand what the process looks like. The first step, Marieli, is for students to get a passport because they won't be able to study abroad unless they have one. So if any students on this call are interested in studying abroad, I recommend that you begin applying for a passport now because it is a slow process due to the pandemic. So everything is going more slowly and it could take 3, 4, 5 months for you to get a passport right now.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Fabiola and Marcia, do you have any questions about what you saw?
I thought that it was very convenient how the London, Amsterdam, and Paris was very close. And I really like that.
Yeah, with trains and planes it is. Go ahead, Leah.
Yeah, it is close. I mean, you know, all European countries are quite small. I mean, you know, in comparison to other countries in the world. But what's also very good is it's that, you know, very cheap, you know, to travel around Europe. Very often, like it also depends on, you know, if you book in advance or if you want to go immediately. But sometimes when you book in advance, you know, you can get, I don't know, you can fly to London for 20 or 30 euros, you know, or you can take a train to Paris for 15 euros. It is, you know, very cheap to travel. And I always recommend it because we know that, you know, you will not stay in Dortmund for the whole time. And also that's not what we want you to do because, you know, it's part of the deal, you know, when you study abroad, it's just good, you know, to visit other countries and, you know, get to know more people. And yeah, I think Europe is just great, you know, for smaller trips and also for longer trips.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I have a cousin in Amsterdam, so I always wanted to visit, and London too. So it's very interesting how everything is so close.
That'll be great for you, Fabiola, if you go to Germany to be able to see family. I see that Marcia put in the chat, todo claro, so she feels good and doesn't have any questions right now. And we do have one new person, Roger, who has joined the call right here at the end. Roger, we've finished the presentation, but we will have a recording that we'll send out to everyone who registered for the call, so you'll have access to everything. Do you have any specific questions that you came with about TU Dortmund, Roger? If you do, and you're not able to turn on your microphone, we invite you to write any questions you have in the chat. Leah, do you have any other final comments or information you want to share before we wrap up the call?
Not really. I mean, maybe just that I want to really to encourage you to study abroad. I mean, yes, I'm here to represent TU Dortmund University, but I'm very sure, you know, that you'll have a great experience. Basically, wherever you go, it's good for your studies because, you know, teaching is very different in every country. And also it's beneficial for your own personality because, I mean, I studied abroad in the US and for me, personally, it was just such a good time to grow, and because you make a lot of experiences that you will not do when you stay at home. And I know that even though Dortmund might be a rather cheap place to live, it's a lot of money that you have to invest, but I'm also sure that Grado has some financial scholarships maybe, so really try to find a way for you that works for you. And yeah, we're always here to help. We're looking forward to maybe welcoming you, and contact us if you have any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leah. So after this session, we'll stop the recording and we will share it with all of you by email along with Leah's PowerPoint presentation in PDF. And if you are interested in any of the other information sessions we've had about our Latin American and European partners, all of those are available on our YouTube channel. And Sophia has just shared in the chat the link for that channel. So you'll be able to access all of the past presentations there and learn about the other universities that we offer. So thank you all so much for coming. Oh, I heard someone.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
Does Sagrado have a program in Canada for?
We do. We actually have several Canadian partner universities through an organization called National Student Exchange. So at our Wednesday information sessions, we give a little bit of information about that. But then once you begin having your advising appointments one-on-one, you can look through all of those exchange partners in Canada if you're interested.
Oh, okay. Can you do you have a presentation for that, or the different links of the Canadian universities?
Yes. So actually, if you go to our webpage, sagrado.edu/internacionalización, no, internacional, sorry, sagrado.edu/internacional, you're going to find the webpage that is about study abroad, and there is a link on the study abroad page to National Student Exchange. But also, once you come to the Wednesday information session and we email you the PowerPoint, you'll have the link there too to explore all the programs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the recording now and we will wrap up.